I just took off the wheel and the fender liner to get a better idea of the damage. So if we see here, we can see that the shock is slightly bent. And then down here, see that the control arm is bent severely. And then that CV axle probably needs to be replaced too. So here's a better idea of what we have to deal with. Here's the progress so far. I got the control arm off. It's pretty hard because it's bent, it was stuck on this. And here's the progress inside. So right now I'm going to remove the CV joint so I can access that bolt right there and then take this entire control arm off. I'm here at ABC Auto Parts and I just picked up a fender liner. I was supposed to get the control arm today, but they couldn't do it because they had to drop the subframe. As you can see, I finally got the subframe lowered. Right now I'm going to use this jaw puller that I borrowed from AutoZone to pull this bushing out. The junkyard didn't have enough time to pull out my control arm today, so I don't have it. But as you can see, this is the left one and that's the right one. If we stack them on top of each other, you can see how much deformation there is on this one. So most of the impact, I think, went in here. Since I had the control arms out, I decided to buy these control arm bushings. They're supposed to be more responsive. These stabilizer bar clamp bolts need to be torqued down to 122 foot-pounds, which is actually a lot of force. So I have this set at around 122. I actually set it a bit higher just for safety, and I'm going to torque this. So actually can't do this with while holding the phone, so I'm going to put it down. Sometime between the shop and getting my car back, they busted the hood shocks, so like it doesn't even stay up. So I'm gonna put these in. So right now I put the subframe back on, and I also installed the hood shocks, so it's keeping the hood up, and the control arm has been pushed. This axle nut was kind of impossible to get out, or seemingly impossible. I had an assistant step on the brakes, so it held this in place, or held the rotor in place, and it was still slipping, and then I just applied a lot of force and I still couldn't get it off. So I looked online and I found out that you can put a screwdriver in the rotor, and then you can have something supporting the socket so it doesn't slip. And then I used the handle from the jack, and then I was able to get it off. On the left is the new tie rod, and on the right is the old one. This thing popped out of it. It's supposed to be inside. When I tried taking the CV axle out, it was stuck in this hub. I tried using penetration oil or penetration grease and it wouldn't come out. I tried using a sledgehammer. I tried using a pry bar. Tried using these pullers to pull it out, and I tried dropping it from like three feet off the ground, and it still wouldn't come out. So this would be an issue later on if I ever needed to replace this. So I decided to buy another steering hub and another CV axle. And one of the drawbacks of buying used parts on eBay is that you don't know what you're going to get. So this one is leaking, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a puncture in the boot. So I got a partial refund and I bought this kit so I can replace the boot. Another thing I noticed after taking that out was that the shock strut was bent, so I bought a new one, or a used one, to replace that. So most of the left suspension parts have been replaced. All the nuts have been torqued down to their specified values. When I bought the hub, I didn't realize that the 07 ones actually have a different lug. So this one is for the 07. It's a M14 by 1.25. The one I had originally was I'm 12 by 1.5, so as you can see, it's too small. So I ordered 4 of these, and now they fit. Alright, I have the old wheels back on, and I have it torqued down, so this is pretty much the moment of truth. Does it work? Starts. I'm in first gear, and we're moving. And I don't hear any issues so far. Sounds like there's a resistor problem. So far, it seems to be running fine. My car has not crashed yet. Second gear. Still kind of babying it because I don't want to push it. Alright, seems to be working fine to me. It's not the prettiest, but it still runs. Right now I'm zip tying the bumper. It's something that they do for drift cars when they mess up their bumper. So I'm gonna start drilling this and then we'll see how it looks. I was able to put the fender liners back on and also the bumper, so this is what it looks like so far. I'll need to replace the headlight and then get this area straightened out. The old headlight is off and the new one's gonna go in. I was able to put the lamp back in and this is what it looks like. There's still a big gap right here. I just came out of the DMV and I got my temporary operating permit, or actually it's a 1-day operating permit, so I can get my brake and line inspection. So they said I didn't need a smog certificate because I'm retaining my salvage certificate, but I do need a VIN verification, which can be done the next time I come here. Today is Saturday, June 13th, and I've been waiting about an hour for this shop to open so I can get a brake and line inspection. Finally got inside and I passed the brake and line inspection. I'm actually not liking the zip ties. I'm going to plastic weld it, sand it, and then paint over it. I removed the zip ties and then I plastic welded that. I'm about to plastic weld this, so what I've done so far is that I sanded it down and then I drilled a hole so I can fill it in, and then I'm gonna sand it again and then prime it and then paint it and clear coat it. I also use epoxy putty to fill in these holes, and then I sanded it down, so now I'm going to prime it. I just finished putting on the clear coat and this is what it looks like. It's not perfect, but I think it looks a lot better than before when it had the zip ties. It doesn't really blend in well, but we'll see how it looks after it dries. I kind of touched this area up. It's okay because this part will be covered by the fender arc. This is pretty much what it's gonna look like. You can see that the hood is kind of bent. I can't seem to straighten it back out. I think because of the impact, this whole thing just kind of bent. Even if I take the hinge off, it's still like that, so I know that the metal is bent and I can't straighten it back out. Today I'm back at the DMV getting a VIN verification. So once that's verified, then I'll be able to get my plates. So there's still a line. The DMV has opened for about 15 minutes now. Leaving the DMV, I just got my plates. When I was driving the car on the freeway around 55 miles per hour, I noticed there's this sound that's like whoop whoop. I suspected it's the hub, so I'm going to replace the hub and also the ball joint. If you can see here, this is the old hub and this is the new one. So I'm gonna loosen this and then put this on. driving about 65 miles per hour after fixing the hub, and it seems to have resolved the issue. I don't hear any noises. I saw that you can pop dents out like these if you use compressed air, shake it up, and then shoot this out upside down, and then use the heat gun to heat it up, and this should pop. So I'm going to try that out to see if it actually works.